there, and welcome to Pink Milk, your Star Wars podcast for us superfans.
And those of us who are forced to listen to them.
Today is someday, and someday we're sitting at a really big table with a bunch of us queer folk. Get ready, because it's time to drink up.
Drink up.
It's all right. It's okay to love who you want to love and be out and be free. Thank you, Bright Light, Bright Light. You are the perfect soundtrack to this here episode. I'm your host, Brian. With me, as always, is my better half and your better host, Thomas.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Rue. I always love it when Rue shows up.
Who is Rue?
RuPaul.
Oh, yes. Uh-oh. I almost had to give my card back.
Don't you ever give that card back.
Well, I probably won't because I'm sure I lost it years ago.
Anyways, with the hellos, I always think of the snap thing that people do. And I can't snap, so it's never as fun when I'm like, hey, with the snaps, and I can't do it. But
it looks like something when he tries, though.
On the Zoom call, this person may or may not have made me cry. You will or will not hear it coming up here in a few minutes. Was doing the snaps, and they were doing it so incredibly well, and I was like, oh, you go, but I can't do it. So I'm going to live vicariously through them because
they're snappy.
They're very snappy, and I'm here for it. But we were just dancing around to some Bright Light, Bright Light. It's all right. It's okay, featuring Cave Boy, which you can find on this week's Pink Milk times the mixtape. The milk tape. I should have called it Pink Milk times the milk tape.
Well, we might do that next week.
You can see those links at our website at servingpinkmilk.com or on Twitter and Instagram. It is both in Apple Music and Spotify. Join in the Pink Milk Friday dance party. And I have to tell you, Thomas.
Talk to me.
I am very glad that I did these mixtapes because how long have we been in this hot mess? Since March.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going on 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be honest. I was kind of handling everything okay until maybe a few weeks ago. And I think it's like the walls are shrinking in all around me.
Maybe we need another vacation.
I think we might. I don't know what's going on, but it's really
I know what's going on. Kids got to go back to school. That's what's going on.
Yeah, this homeschooling thing is getting OLD.
Their teachers are terrible.
Terrible. 2 teachers who have college educations who must have bought and paid for them. We must have had one of those fancy moms there from a few weeks ago that might be going to prison now.
Man,
Laura Laughlin, is
my
that her
poor
name?
Kids, they have me as a
Lori
teacher.
Laughlin? Becky from, right?
Why are you pulling the Laughlin? Yeah, we won't be doing that either.
No.
We'll just have to build a business so they can take it over.
Yes. Build a business. Drink up.
Drink up.
Oh, no, I am very excited for this upcoming episode. We are going to hop to it because we're very excited. We are very excited to announce this little mini series here, a queer roundtable discussion of The Mandalorian Season 1. We're doing a rewatch, and it's really exciting. We have a really full table of a lot of pink, oh my God, again.
Pilk milks?
Pilk milks. Pink milk drinkers, and they were really, really amazingly wonderful. Thank you, Twitter. I put a shout out on there, and we got a lot of feedback.
And intelligent. I mean, they're really intelligent. Wait to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, honestly,
it's a great discussion.
You will not watch The Mandalorian the same again. As we said in the title of this, Mando is trans. We said it. Deal with it. You can find more of those kinds of things on our social media at Serving Pink Milk on both Twitter and Instagram. You can visit our website, as I said earlier, at servingpinkmilk.com. Please, please, please visit Apple Podcasts. Take a few minutes to give us a 5-star review and write us a fantastic review especially during these things. I'm telling you right now, you're about to hear a very important conversation. This is just the start. This is just chapter 1. We have 7 chapters to go. There's a lot of important discussion going on, and we really want as many people to hear this as possible because, as we all know, maybe not everyone knows, there are some things going on with Gina Carano right now.
Gina.
I hope she's getting better. But it's all revolving around this pink table right now. So without any further ado, get ready. It's time to drink up.
Drink up.
If you've listened to our show from the beginning, which I'm sorry if you did in those first early episodes, I personally think The Mandalorian is a very, very, very queer-coded show. So we are going to talk about the first season through our lens. So hopefully people will be really into that. I'm very excited to hear everyone else's perspectives because, of course, when I talk about it from a queer lens, sometimes I think that's everyone else's experience, but clearly we know that's not going to be everyone's experience. So I'm really excited to learn those stories. And so let's introduce everybody here at the table this week. And let's get a 1, 2, 3 of your take of The Mandalorian in general. All right. So Mark Perez, we're going to start with you.
Oh, great. All right, my take on The Mandalorian. I love the first season. The music was a little rough for me at first, but once I just kind of got used to it, I realized what they were going for, and I was on board. And as we got introduced to the different characters, I definitely fell more and more in love with it. And there was some bumpy episodes here and there, but overall, it ended very strong, and I'm really looking forward to this next season.
Fantastic. Tom wasn't too on board with the music either.
It was interesting at first. I was like, what the hell is this?
I agree. It was so much, it stepped off so much of what I remembered of Star Wars. But just like you, it grew on me as the season went by.
So good. Awesome. Emma, how about you?
I'm Emma. I also love the music. I actually was rewatching episode 2 this morning when I was up early with my son, and one of the thoughts that occurred to me was I really loved how expressive and original the music was for like a Star Wars related show. As for the Mandalorian, like the story and the characters itself, I'm totally on board. I absolutely loved season 1. I was so glad to get this content, and I appreciate the way that it is a way in for people and it appeals to people who are new to the franchise. Well, at the same time, really, there's really something there for people that have been there the whole time, like me, like since the 80s. Yep. So those are my thoughts initially.
Fantastic. I can't wait I have a question about that as we go on here. Mark, I feel like I'm on Saturday Night Live watching these new episodes because I'm just going in order. I'm very lazy, so I'm just going in order in which it is on our screen. But I feel like I'm on Saturday Night Live. It's kind of fun. All right, Mark.
Well, since we're all talking about the music to start off with, I agree that it was interesting in a kind of a weird way. Like, this is not what we're used to hearing, but that's what made me fall in love with it instantly. And the primal sounds that they were using, and the synthesizers, and it was just like, oh, this is so unexpected, but it's also exactly perfect for what the tone of the show is going to be. And I think my initial surprise was the overall tone was it was very much, in the old spaghetti westerns, and I don't know that I necessarily expected that, but I was just enthralled from the very beginning. So I've been very happy with season 1.
Hope, how about you? What were your thoughts on season 1 of Mandalorian?
Yeah, Yeah, I was actually surprised how soft it was. Coming into the show, I was really scared that it was going to be just the super, like the replacement for the Boba Fett TV show, and it was going to be just be like super hyper masculine and just like killing all the things and like blowing stuff up. So I was really surprised about how like surprisingly soft it was. With the introduction of Baby Yoda, it went from being like super bounty hunter show to Lone Wolf and Cub. And so episode 2 was just surprisingly super almost feminine and soft for me. And I actually don't have a problem with the music in the show because my entry point to the fandom was Clone Wars. So to me, like Kevin Kiner is more Star Wars music than John Williams, because that was like my first love. So
awesome. I do love the world music vibe to the Clone Wars stuff. It was really, really good. I think Zero the Hutt episode in particular, when they're in a night in Jabba's palace with all the dancers, like that music was so good.
So I mean, good. John Williams is really good at creating themes, but the rest of the music is just like kind of random classical, where I feel like Kevin Kiner actually is composing for each episode. Like his piece Into the Star Cluster from Rebels is probably one of the best pieces of Star Wars music ever created.
Yes, agreed.
110%. All right, Toby, Camelette, how about the two of you?
You want to go first? You go first. Okay. Hi, I'm Calumet. I'm going to age myself real fast and say that I just turned 21 a few months ago. And so while Star Wars has been in my life forever, I am technically still a baby in the fandom compared to so many other people. And I think the reason I fell in love with The Mandalorian is because I realized a lot of people in my generation love stories that have a similar energy to video games, a very personal one-on-one story that is more character driven than it is like we have to save the entire world in 8 episodes kind of thing. I like the fact that at the end of the day it is just a story about a man and a child, and that's all it needs to be. And I think that's why I really, really loved it a lot, and I'm really excited for season 2.
That's awesome. That's gonna be really exciting because I personally am not a video game person. I don't really follow them, but so to hear that perspective is going to be super exciting. So that's really cool.
And then for me, I did not grow up on Star Wars at all. Hope was actually the first person that I really knew that was into Star Wars, and I kind of got into it because of her. So my, I guess, introduction to the fandom came pretty much only like 2 years ago. And I liked The Mandalorian. It wasn't, groundbreaking for me. I felt at times it was kind of slow, so I put it around average. But I'm a big prop making and costume person, so certain things about the show, costume-wise, pulled me out of it. But also, I really like certain things about it. But yeah, I thought the music was good. I remarked about it today. At one point, I thought the music was really, really good for it. But other times when it's not needed, it doesn't really feel like it's there that much. So all around, it was kind of like a good middle ground.
I'm sorry, I was your manager that shoved Star Wars on you.
I asked. I came into work and asked.
You did. I was like, my child, come into my arms.
No, you say my word.
Run earrings.
Just say, you're welcome. I shoved Star Wars on you, and you're welcome. That's all you need. All right, last but not least, Ian, how about you?
Well, first off, this is my first podcast experience, so I just want to thank you for opening your show and your platform. I love season 1. I knew almost nothing about it, and what was really cool was just from the get-go, the vibes that we got. There, I mean, you can see the influences, the samurai, the westerns, anime, even. It's just a really cool blend of all of those. And as for the music, I think the music's amazing. I'm a huge music nerd. Ludwig Göransson, he's amazing. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, our son last night watched it with us again, and he was going on and on about how much he liked the music. And he's like hot or cold about Star Wars. It depends like who's around or whether or not I'm going to be cool or not. But he was really into the music last night for sure. So one thing that came out since we put together this little table of fantastic people was the trailer for season 2. What did we all think? Like a quick 1, 2, 3 of our thoughts on that. So Emma, we're going to start with you.
Oh, great. Okay. So the trailer for season 2. Again, back to what I was talking about Mandalorian drawing in like newer fans as well as established ones. The trailer was a bit confusing for me as someone who is really familiar with the universe, and I don't know, should I elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, just talking about like, you know, having the whole voiceover being about bringing the child to the Jedi because he's force sensitive. It's like, there's kind of a separation in the Star Wars universe between someone who's a force adept and someone who's a Jedi. So it's like, to me, I'm kind of going like, well, not necessarily, you know? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So that kind of like bugged me a little bit. Also, the fact that we kind of saw Tatooine again, I'm like, oh god, do we have to go back there again?
I feel like I'm in the minority for that. Like, I love going back home. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it.
But then, but seeing Elam again was lovely. I was happy that we're going back there. So
good. Yeah, we'll see. I want everyone. Let's let everyone. Mark P.
Oh, finally, no, sorry. One final thought was, I really, really am hoping that this mysterious cloaked figure is, an Inquisitor. That's my wish list.
Yes.
Because I would just love that so much. But anyway, okay, so I'm finished now, and someone else can talk.
I'm wondering, my dose of responsible speculation is that she's an early version of a Knight of Ren, possibly. Like, I wonder if some of the leftover Inquisitors became the Knights of Ren or something along those lines, because that I get some serious Kylo Ren vibes from the texture of the cloak and the cut of that little. Ian, what are your thoughts?
I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it.
Oh, I remember.
And,
okay. Yep.
Yeah, because with season 1, when I said I almost knew nothing about it, I hadn't watched any of the trailers. I didn't see anything other than the poster. I literally bought my Disney Plus subscription just to watch The Mandalorian. So I was very much just like completely open. So from the minute episode 1 or chapter 1 starts, I was blown away.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we will keep the spoiler talk of the trailers to a minimum. All right, Mark Marquis, just because your name is so much fun to say. What were your thoughts?
Well, I like my trailers like I like my Baby Yoda, short and sweet. And I sometimes, like Ian, don't watch trailers just because I want to keep as much purity as possible for when I see it for the first time in the actual show or in the movie. But because I knew this was going to be a teaser, I went ahead and watched it. And it's just a few weeks away, so, wouldn't be a long wait anyway. It did what it was meant to do. It was raised a lot of questions. I do think that the appearance of the cloaked figure when the armorer's voiceover is talking about the Jedi, that's a red herring, because we're meant to think that she's a Jedi based on the fact that the armorer is speaking about the Jedi.
Yep.
So that, to me, that suggests that she's anything but a Jedi. But yeah, it was great. I look forward to seeing a whole lot more.
Awesome. Toby, Camelette.
You first?
You first.
So I only watched the trailer because I knew we would be talking about it. I don't purposefully avoid trailers like that, though. For me, I enjoy watching trailers. The reason I've been avoiding this one is because the trailer kind of showed me what I was scared of, which is I'm about to be real annoying for a second. I don't like really any of this sequel content that has been made. I live and die by like the Jedi Academy and all the stuff that happened with Luke and Mara Jade, and that was mine kind of thing.
Okay.
And so for me, I was worried that Mandalorian season 2 was going to start getting a little too close to the sequel movies in energy, and that's kind of what I felt while watching the trailer, and that's what I was like trying to like save myself from. So I still think it's going to be good. I'm still going to watch it because I'm deeply invested in the story of like these two characters, but I'm just worried, I guess, on how they're going to take it now that Disney kind of has an excuse to put more money and more energy, and sometimes that's not always the best thing Disney does. Sometimes Disney's smaller projects are the ones that produce the best results.
I can see that for sure. Toby, how about you?
I didn't like it. I guess I'm more of a cynical person when it comes to things like this, but
you just hate trailers.
I hate trailers, first of all, but it was the idea, the whole trailer boiled down was just like, take them home. Where? I don't know. Like, that's all we get. And it reminded me of something that my mother had said a while ago, which is that you can tell when something is a Disney movie because it kind of has that weird sense of humor. And the trailer kind of had that too, where it was like it's a really dark and mysterious way of saying, we have no idea where he came from, and now it's your responsibility. And first of all, I hate when things appear and then something walks by and disappears. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say I always hate that. That is something that I always hate. But the idea that like they just threw in this random chick just to be like sneaky suspicious, and it felt weird. And also the idea that he has to track down force sensitive people or the Jedi or whatever to return, I guess, this thing, the child. It just feels weird that one Mandalorian is trying to track down something that's gone undercover for so long that it just feels like it's something that's like, they're making it sound way easier than it actually should be, considering everything that happened. And like, I don't know, it felt very like, here's an impossible quest, figure it out kind of a thing. And I just instantly was like, this is not
setting up for at least 3 to 4 or 5 seasons worth of content.
Until Cad Bane shows up. Because it was Cad Bane at the end of chapter 5. Stealing force-sensitive babies.
It feels like it's just a plug to like throw in different worlds and be like, all right, here's everything that you love. Just 5 seasons of just going to different places, and now it's amazing content. It's like, it's just a manhunt. It's just a wild goose chase for a few seasons.
Well, possibly, yeah. I think the Darksaber brought in more. We'll see. Probably. That was kind of the basic premise of the first season. Which for me personally, the first season was really great, but I don't think I loved the first season until months later when there was questions that it planted and the seed started to sprout, and I was like, oh my God, I think I like the show a lot more than I think I did initially. And it could be my own emphasis on the Darksaber and what it could bring, and the fact that I think that also, speaking of red herrings that Mark brought up, that the Spurs were a red herring that we all think it's Boba Fett, but I really think it's Cad Bane.
I actually never wanted a trailer.
Oh, how about for you?
I think what the strength going into season 1 is we knew pretty much nothing about it, and they did such a good job hiding Baby Yoda, and that was such a huge surprise. And just between season 1 and season 2, there's been so many spoiler cycles. Like, is Ahsoka going to be in the show? Is what's his butt? Boba Fett going to be in the show? Bo-Katan. Like, there was like all these like rumor mills happening, and it felt like we were getting all this information even though nothing was confirmed. That I didn't even really want a trailer, because the magic of season 1 was we really knew nothing about the show other than there's a guy, he's a bounty hunter, and there's a Mandalorian, and that's all we had going into the show, which is why season 1 was such a surprise to get. And that's why I liked it. But the only thoughts I have is I hope the cloaked figure is Hidala Fardi from the Ahsoka novel, because she actually has ties to Ahsoka, and if Ahsoka is gonna be in season 2, you're wondering, it's from this book. She's a really good character. She's a force sensitive character that never became a Jedi, and I think she could be a very interesting character in the show. And we don't have no idea what she looked like, so it could be Sasha Banks. It can. Yep, she was the little girl that Ahsoka protected, and
She
so
was
that
the
would
little
put
girl,
her,
right?
yeah, roughly in the right age. And Sasha Banks is
kept-
not Sabine Wren, because Sabine Wren is Indian. Everyone stop saying that.
Agree. And then every time when I was reading that book and she was talking about the dark cloud figure, all I could hear was the never ending story theme, because I kept thinking of the nothing as like the force coming after her. It's every time I got pulled into that fantastic song. Mark, are you ready? Mark P? Okay.
I saw the trailer, and like Mark was saying, short and sweet. I didn't need it to sell anything to me. I'm gonna watch it, so I'm already in. I'm just glad it didn't reveal too much. You know, you just want to get the basis down. You see some cool stuff that we have coming up ahead. We saw a boat in Star Wars, so even though we've seen to some degree that those types of vehicles, but yeah, seeing that was just kind of like, oh, okay, what's gonna happen here? Yeah, the cloaked figure, you know, who the mystery behind that. I will see where that goes. I'm interested to see what they do with Sasha Banks' character, and then the whole trying to figure out where Baby Yoda should go. I'm actually pretty terrified that at some point they're gonna get separated, and then we're gonna get this huge cliffhanger, and then I'm just gonna be just completely just ripped to shreds. So that's what I'm scared of. That's what I'm looking ahead to. What we see coming up is that at some point they're gonna be separated, and like, what the hell is gonna happen then? So anyway,
I think there's very good chance that that's the end of season 2, is that they're torn apart, and season 3 will be, and it'll be, I don't know, The Wrong Jedi season 5 of Clone Wars finale. It's going to ever be very hard for me to ever be more emotionally like a mess after that episode. But this has the potential to be there, especially one of the things that I really connected to the show was the fact that we have 3 boys that we've adopted through the foster system. And I'll talk about it when we get to the end of this first episode.
Yeah.
But that idea of the instant connection to something that you didn't know was coming, and you didn't have, like, if you're biologically have a child, you don't have those 9 months to bond before we even meet each other in real life. Like, it's an instant. There's no time for anything, but someone needs me and I'm there. And to have, and Mando this whole season was figuring it out. Like, I am now a father. I didn't want to be, but now I am. And what does this mean? And there's a lot of stuff underneath that by season 2, he's going to know what it is to be a father and be so attached to that child. And then if he's taken away with, and the baby, who clearly was held under trauma in a very bad situation, who Baby Yoda, as season 1 went on, learned to trust Mando more. I feel like there's a lot in the trailer for season 2, a connection that those two have, even more so now. And what is it going to do to a child who already has trauma to be taken away yet again? And as a parent to foster children, the idea that they could be taken away, and how long that takes, like how long it took for our boys to kind of lose that fear that we don't know where we're going to go next, weighs very heavy on me on a very personal level. So I think that I will be a wreck.
So I have a question. So, taking us back a little bit to the opening of season 1, not the trailer. So we spent a little bit of time talking about the music, but what about the opening makes you feel like it's a Star Wars show? Anybody have thoughts on that?
Honestly, the Blue Alien.
Yes.
Like, that was
the Blue Alien.
Yeah, Mithril, I think is his name.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was such a Dave Filoni thing. When I saw that, because Dave Filoni is really good at mixing like very serious things with humor. That's something he really thrives doing, and that the whole opening act with him escorting the Blue Alien as his bounty that just felt very Filoni-verse to me. I was like, okay, yes, I can see that Dave Filoni is directing this episode. This is a very him thing to do. But it also just kind of released the fear of this is going to be the Boba Fett show. And I was like, no, this is going to be closer tied to like Clone Wars and Rebels kind of storytelling. So, and because like my anchor in Star Wars is always animation, and I always get nervous about live action just because it's not my best medium. So when I saw that, I was like, there you are, Dave. This alien is all you, all over it. So that it just felt very animation to me, and I'm gonna constantly come back to that point because that's my anchor in Star Wars.
Love it. Mark M., what do you think?
It was the Ravenak. It was the big creature. I'm a big geek for Star Wars monsters, and the second I see a big creature of some kind, that's Star Wars. Of course, it was before that. It was the cantina or the bar, or he walks in and it's a seedy place. That instantly calls to mind Star Wars. There was the first few scenes though, there was something kind of odd and off about the pacing, the lack of dialogue, where they chose to make things quiet, how they sort of frame shots. It was just, as with all Star Wars, the first time you see it, you're thinking, is this Star Wars? Until you get those little clues that say, oh yeah, nope, this is actually Star Wars.
Yeah, it's funny that you, Hope, brought up the alien, because there's part, like, I am all about it. I think you have to have aliens in Star Wars. I feel, for me personally, that was one of the digs against the sequel trilogy, and I like the sequel trilogy overall, but I don't think there were enough aliens.
Unless you're watching Resistance.
Oh yeah, well, Resistance. What Resistance did so beautifully was bring in prequel trilogy aliens, original trilogy aliens, and sequel trilogy aliens, and putting them all in the same universe for really the only time you ever see that, which is my favorite part of Resistance, I think. But I think for me, and I'm a huge animation person also, but when Mythrol spoke English, it pulled me out in the same way that Lady Proxima, who I think is Solo is my favorite Disney movie, so we'll put that out there. But when Lady Proxima pops up, she is so rad looking, but then she speaks not only basic but also an old lady librarian voice, and
I'm right there with you.
Kind of pulls me out, like, and that's something the sequel trilogy, like, I don't even, there's maybe 2 scenes with captions, like, there's no, everyone speaks basic, everyone all of a sudden speaks droid, and I don't know where all that came from, but it's one of the, maybe it's a minor detail, but it's also kind of not a minor detail that I don't think the sequel trilogy did very well. Like,
yeah.
The reason C-3PO was there was so he could talk to the audience about what the aliens and what R2 was saying, and now we have humans doing it, and I didn't like it. It still kind of annoys me a little bit about those. When I go back and I watch them again, I'm just like, we didn't need necessarily C-3PO, but we could have had another interpreter droid. Mark P., what were your thoughts?
So when it first began, again, going back to the music, it took me a little bit to get into it. I loved, obviously, that we start up in a cantina setting. The Horatio Sands character, I think, was my least favorite thing about when it all began, because I didn't, again, going back to the voice, it's the voice and the delivery just killed it. It's like, oh, we have this alien, but he sounds too normal. Like, it's like, too human, so to speak, too earthbound, and so it really threw me off. So when they finally threw him in carbonite, I was cheering. I was like, oh, please get out of here. It's like, go away. But I mean, after that, the world building, obviously all of that got me. I was like, okay, here we go. We start getting to know characters, and we get introduced to different characters that just pull us deeper into the story, and before you know it, you're in this world, and you're all like, this is what I love about Star Wars, and we're seeing this already, and that's fine. I mean, that's the way all things begin. You got to settle in, and then once it gets going, you're either gonna love it or like, okay, this is completely off. But luckily, it it's only a little bit rough, and then we're good to go. So
I will protect this blue alien, apparently.
No, I think I now that I'm used to it, because I think he adds a ton. Like there's a lot, he delivers a lot of dialogue that is very world building, and that whole scene and that character in particular is incredibly important. I think now I'm used to it. It's one of the things, like I said, I love animation. I think for Clone Wars is the foundation of all Star Wars for me now. Like everything, I even go back and compare the original trilogy to what the Clone Wars did. Like it is everything. But I think for me personally, it just didn't. It works there, but it didn't work in live action. And I feel that's where there was like Dave was learning a little bit still. So I'm curious where it will go. But that also seems to be a Disney thing because, like I said, Lady Proxima in no way, shape, or form had any business speaking basic. Like that would not have happened in the original trilogy. She would have sounded rad, and all of the dialogue that Han says when he's talking to her, you didn't need to know what she said, because he's like, I think at some point in time I feel like she wasn't going to speak English the way that scene was written, and it's unfortunate because I think that scene could have been amazing. But Emma, how about you?
Yeah, I agree that Proxima, that was a lost opportunity for sure. So when I was watching that episode of Mandalorian for the first time, the moment that I really felt like, oh, this is a Star Wars movie, was with the ferryman. I love the ferryman. That was so great, and I loved the union of technology with the little flute. Like that's so Star Wars to me. It's like this sort of primitive looking whistle that is used to summon like the latest in speeder technology. That was just great. I enjoyed it immensely, and it brought me back to when I was a little kid watching the Star Wars. So yeah, that's my answer.
The ferryman was Bert from The Big Bang Theory. So when he died, I was like, Bert, no!
How about Ian?
So what I loved from the beginning was we got our cantina scene, but it's totally like a reversal of the classic cantina scenes we've gotten from A New Hope and The Force Awakens. It's this like rundown little bar in this rundown little icy shanty town. And as for the Mithril and aliens and speaking basic, we definitely need more aliens in Star Wars. Whether or not they speak basic doesn't really matter to me, or if they sound like a human. I think it would be better if they spoke basic, they had some kind of accent or some kind of sound effects going along with it.
I like that. I agree with you.
Well, this was actually the Mithril's first appearance, so like this could be the foundation of how his species speaks.
They were in an episode of Clone Wars. There was an episode... Yeah, there was an episode he was with Pat, or one of those aliens was with Padme tooling around on Coruscant, I think, in like speeder bike type things. But I don't remember which episode, but they're in Clone Wars somewhere.
Wikipedia's a liar.
So Toby and Kaymalette, thoughts?
So for me, the moment where it hit that like this is Star Wars was the ferryman scene, very similar to M. Just seeing it, I don't know, like you said, the blend of like this primitive level of high technology, that will always just be Star Wars to me. Like even though this is set after a lot of the original Star Wars content, the phrase "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away" still is like to me the foundation of it. And I think that's what a lot of newer Star Wars content is lacking, is the mix. And so when I saw that, that's when I was like, I'm putting my full faith in this. I cannot wait. Like this is where it clicks.
I agree, 100%.
All right, so the next question up is your thoughts on the client. Do you think the client does a good job stating that the Empire was doing the right thing?
So, yeah, so like I think one of the things I want to get into, like in the bar scene, I think there's a lot of as queer people, we're not always welcome everywhere. For a lot of people, it's a bar or a nightclub. It's not always, unfortunately, brings the most healthy element along with it for everyone. But it's, I came out in the late 90s. It was really not okay. But I found a home in a club. I was like a total club kid and I was straight edge. I didn't do any, but I'm lucky because there's a lot of bad things that come around being that, especially when you're very young, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to steer clear from it. But I think that's one of the things that I really appreciated in the opening of this series is we meet him in a bar and we see that's who he is, that's where he feels comfortable, because the minute he gets out of that, all of a sudden no droids, he's already like defining the world that he wants to live in. But when he was there, he got to be himself. And as queer people, we're not allowed to be ourselves everywhere, unfortunately. So we have to find those few places when the door closes and the lights go up or down or whatever it is that we can be ourselves. And we leave the bar, we meet Queef Karga, and he gets him a puck, and we're led to the Empire again. So our story goes into the universe that we all love. When we see Flava Flav there with his gigantic medallion, and he offers him a bounty, and the thing he's going to tease him with is, I'm going to give you a piece of yourself that normally the government that was once in power, says you're not allowed to have this anymore, but look, aren't I really nice? And I'm going to give you a piece of who you are, and I'm going to let you walk outside of these doors. See, right now you're ashamed of who you are. You've got all this dirty clothes on, but I'm going to let you shine yourself up and show to the world who you really are, but only because I'm getting something from you. And I feel a lot of times politicians, especially during climates like this, use us they'll shine us up when they need us to, and then the minute they're elected, we're forgotten about. And I feel I have to say, maybe it's a big stretch, but for me, that was the moment I was like, oh my God, this is like a really, really queer show. And it really affected me on a very deep level like that. So I'm curious what y'all kind of think about that. Hope, let's start with you.
This was the one point I had like nothing to say, but I had so many other talking points for the other 2 points that we didn't get to. Yes, ditto what everything you said.
There we go. Well, what you were agreeing to was yeah. It was brilliant what you're agreeing to.
I think absolutely. I had so much to say about bars, and I had so many things to say about aliens, but we've already moved on. So yes, ditto.
Emma, how about for you?
I have some things to say. I think a lot of the conflict in Star Wars is about power, right? It's like, I mean, even with the Jedi and the Sith, it's like everyone has the same power, but how are you going to use it? And, with the whole thing with the Empire, it's like, what kind of government are you going to have? Are you going to have like a centralized where everything is all concentrated in one place, or are you going to try to spread it around? And like, what are the complications of that? What are the things that go well, and what are the weak points where the places where things can go poorly, right? Because the whole story of Star Wars is about a government collapsing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think about power a lot when I think about Star Wars, and I really think it's very meaningful what you said about how the client is dangling this thing in front of Mando, and but it's this injustice. It's an inherent injustice because it is something that he is entitled to for himself, and he shouldn't have to come crawling to anyone, and he shouldn't have to take on an entire compound of people with blasters in order to be entitled to this thing. So, I mean, I don't know if I can finish this thought, but that's where it begins.
Yeah, no, I 100%. Thank you.
Mark M., what are your thoughts?
it's going to sound like a cop out, but exactly what Emma said. Because no, seriously, I kind of struggled with this question because I didn't like fully understand like the avenue of thought behind it. But Brian, when you explained what you were seeing or reading into that scene, it clicked then, and I was like, oh yeah, I totally see what he's going for. But I was thinking along the lines of power and how the establishment that was in power is no longer in power, but they're going to continue to remind everyone that they are the ones that hold the power in any given situation that they find themselves in. So it was just the client's way of saying, we may not be the empire anymore, but we still hold this over you. So
well, and that's how colonialism works, right?
Right.
It's like you establish power, but then even if in superficial ways or in more obvious ways that power is stripped from you, you've still defined the rules of the game. So as long as people are still playing the game, you have leverage, right? So it's like, yeah, okay, the empire is ostensibly not in power anymore, but like they still made all the rules and people are still playing by their rules.
Exactly. And look what happens just a few years from that point. The First Order takes over. What do? We dress ourselves up like the Empire, and you thought you didn't want this, but it's not so good without it either, because they didn't allow themselves enough time to rebuild. And so they polish up their suits, and then everyone just falls suit really quick. It was a really interesting thing.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, the Concordance only existed for what, 35 years?
Yep, 100%.
That's all. Just 30. That's not even a generation. That's not even one lifetime. And all the people who built the Concordance lived to see it dissolve.
That's depressing.
It's really sad. Yeah. Camelot, Toby, how about you two?
I agree with everything said so far about how like it's very systemic and it's a little creepy to see in action, especially under a queer guise. But also for me, the thing that made me realize that like this is like a queer coded show, if not just Mando as a character. And I know you're going to agree with me on this, is both of us as trans men, whenever we see a character that hides their face for a majority, if not all of a story, it resonates with us so heavily. Because like what else is the trans experience besides hiding your true face for most, if not a large portion of your life? And so when I found out that like they seriously weren't going to take his helmet off like until like they had to, that's when it really hit for me. I'm like, oh, so now Mando is trans. Thank you. That's where it clicked for me.
That's great.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, and it's so sad that he only did it to someone who he's not sure what level of human. He's going through that emotion with IG of where he stands, but it's someone who he's already disassociated with anyways, so it doesn't matter what this person thinks because they can't give me positive or negative about what they're going to see, and it's very sad. Sorry, go ahead, Toby.
I think what kind of threw me off, not really threw me off, but one thing that I kind of did notice is like when he goes to the client to get basically the order for it, it's one of those things where it kind of felt weird because he is, as a person, where he started, how he ended up where he is kind of having to go against his own moral code in order to do what he needs to do to get back something that he rightfully deserves. And I don't know if anyone really picked up on it, I guess the way that I did, but it was one of those things where it's like, and you can obviously put this in the context of like, anyone in the LGBTQ plus community and the government is like, we're going to give you this thing so you can benefit us, but you're going to have to go against morally what you have to do in the first place, which is like, you can be this famous person, but you can't actually stand up for any of the rights that you really believe in when it comes to the LGBTQ community. I can't imagine the amount of flack that, some of the actors got going out and being in the protest because that,
Pedro Pascal was out for the Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah.
Let alone anything else.
And that, I mean, that
I was just about to say, this sounds like working for Disney.
Yeah. And it's mirrored in the show is he has to get this child that mirrors a lot of who he was as a child and bring them and to this very dangerous situation. He has to go against morally what he thinks. And again, being a costume person with the kind of idea that they're just kind of grasping at straws to get some kind of power back, the troopers in the room, they are way more sickly looking than normal troopers would. And I don't know if anyone else caught it like I did, but it almost reminds me of that one 501st guy who does like the zombie trooper. Is like, they were way thinner than normal. Their armor was completely destroyed. The contouring even make the helmets look like they were just had no life in them. The room was very bare. Like it looks like the skeleton of a former government really trying to hold on to anything. And Mando really was pretty much the only person that looked like he was alive in the room. So
that's a great point.
Yeah.
It speaks to our resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, also,
and to me,
in a way, like, now that the Empire has been destroyed, it's almost like they're like, okay, now we're on your level, so I guess we understand what you went through because we've gone through this ourselves. And it's just like, well, we've been going through this our entire lives, just because you can now suddenly empathize with me.
Yep. Ian.
So I sort of have a few different thoughts. As for the client and the Empire, it doesn't really seem that the galaxy is so much different, at least in the world we see in The Mandalorian, because it seems like we're in the Outer Rim, and the Outer Rim, even from the days of the Republic, is neglected. It's still sort of lawless in a sense. Sometimes, though, I like to imagine that the Empire are the good guys. And so with the client, we have this figure who is like, see how much worse life is now? See how degrading society can be without some sort of rule of law or totalitarian system of government. In terms of like bars and clubs and that scene, so I'm actually a recovering addict and alcoholic, and my usage was very much related to who I am, my identity as a non-binary transgender person, and trying to deal with that. And even though I'm in recovery right now, like bars and clubs are still very much a part of my identity. It's this space where I can totally feel completely safe from the outside world and just be 100% myself. The modern LGBT rights was founded in the Stonewall Bar and Club. So our identity is very much synonymous with that scene. And then just real quick, touching on the Mandalorian, wearing a mask and a suit. Toby and I'm sorry, how do you pronounce your name? Kayla. They got it right. The Mandalorian is definitely a trans person, absolutely 100%. And to me, in relation to the bar conversation, the Mandalorian covert is representative, I feel like, of a LGBT bar or club, where you have all these people who are trying to hide from a society that thinks they don't exist, number one, and number two, it's where they're openly allowed to be themselves, but they're also hidden at the same time. They're like in the sewers and the sewage system. There's just so much going on with this show. I think that's all I have.
Thank you for sharing your story. it's just very sad that for so many of us, in order to feel safe, we have to literally put ourselves in harm's way, because that little bit of harm is less than the harm that exists outside of the world. And the struggle, even just to every single day, just to be who we are, can be challenged. And it's just incredibly. So thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for sharing that. It's hard.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just going to add, I think when I saw the bar question, that actually resonated with me in a different way, because I personally, I don't like clubs, I don't like bars. All the queer people that I know, they don't like clubs and bars either. And so we all found our nerd spaces in conventions, like 221BCon, DragonCon, stuff like that. Like, that is our safe place, both as queer people and as nerds. And I know Toby's gone to 221BCon here in Atlanta. That is a queer convention. It's actually a majority women and queer people. I would say 80 to 20%. Like, the 80 outweighs like the other 20%. And it's just a space that we have created for ourselves that on the surface, it looks like a Sherlock Holmes convention, but like inside we're having panels about how to write asexuality in fan fiction, how to write polyamorous stories for media. Like stuff like that, and it's a place that we created because I've never felt at home at bars either. I've always been uncomfortable about them, but I've always felt at home in nerd spaces that I created, like with me and my friends, because I could both openly be queer and a nerd, and not have to hide that, because I've never fit in a popular crowd. So like, put me at DragonCon or 221BCon, I am living my best life because I can openly be myself in those spaces.
Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was gonna bounce off of what Hope said, because when I saw that part of the outline as well, I had the same thought about how I did eventually find a way into bars and clubs. I kind of learned about the community after I came out by going to bars and clubs, but it was the internet that brought me out to begin with. And for me back then, at that time, the internet was a safe place for me to come out. Now imagine saying that today. The internet does not really seem like a very safe place at all today. But that was sort of where I came to understand who I was, by talking to other people. And I did so without having to see them face to face. And I know that sounds kind of like, well, that doesn't sound healthy. But you have to understand that at the time, this was the late 80s, like you were saying, Brian, it was very not okay to come out. Now, for my husband's generation, it was definitely bars and clubs. But as Hope was saying, I think after that, it's been evolving towards, I don't know, finding communities within more niche areas or spaces, which in some ways are healthier.
Yeah, I think that I agree, and I'm very happy that you found that. I think Mark was on our show back in June, and I think we were like halfway through our podcast, and I realized this is the first time I have ever spoken about Star Wars with a queer person, and it has always been my thing. I'm a nerd, but I was always the token gay nerd, because I never found, I had to hide myself from all these different places. Maybe I didn't have to. I guess it sounds like a lot of people were more comfortable with themselves and found it or something. I don't know. Like, it made me, I had segmented things. I was this in this room. I was this in this room. But I was never able, honestly, until we started this podcast, that all of a sudden I could find all these pieces of myself and I could put them all in one place together. And it's been a really wonderful opportunity. So thank you again to all of you for helping me find that and being this little thing that after 41 years of living, I've never been able to find that. And it's been really awesome. I think that's something that I really do hope is evolving, that there is more niche things so we can all find a place to go that we feel comfortable in and we can just be ourselves there. Toby, you had something to add?
Yeah, so coming off of what Hope said, because I don't do bars, I don't do clubs, never been to one, not my vibe. And when I was, discovering myself and who I was and coming out as trans, I immediately jumped into the cosplay community. I was still learning myself in high school, but obviously it wasn't like the best place to discover yourself and be open about it, because high school is high school. But going into the cosplay community, you kind of have that home. And so in The Mandalorian, I didn't really feel like, it almost felt like more of just the entire clan, I guess, was more of the home body to me, where it's like you find this found family of, something happens, obviously his parents and everything, and he was kind of taken in and raised into this person that he feels comfortable as. And that's kind of how I was with the cosplay community, finding other trans people there. And it felt, in the beginning, it really doesn't feel like he has kind of that home until you really see him with the clan. And it's like, okay, this is like where he is. This is what he's doing. He's working for them. He's trying to get everything better for them. He's doing this job technically for them. But the club and the whole bar idea didn't really, I guess, vibe with me. But it's kind of good, I guess, that they have both of those things, where it's like, if you didn't really feel at home in the cantina, you feel at home with other people just like you, who are kind of all kind of this found family indoctrinated together.
Mark.
Okay, sure. So, for me, honestly, just I love what everybody shared so far, because I take like bits and pieces of all of that, and also with what Toby and Qi'ra brought up about the character being trans, that adds a whole new layer I didn't even think about. I was gonna bring up the mask part, but I didn't even think to go that extra step and think about the bigger picture, which to me, to just jump ahead some, makes the reveal of him without the helmet much later. Obviously, there's a huge vulnerability there. Like, the character's already down and in a space where you don't know what's going to happen to them, but now it's like it just completely laid bare. I didn't even think about all that. It opened up a whole new like idea in my head about the character and where they were headed and what happened to them at that point. So I love that. And going back to when we get the delivery about where the Empire is at and how things have changed and everything, I'm so glad that we got Werner Herzog to actually explain all that to us, because it gave us that severity that we needed, and at the same time also to tread carefully. It's like your things have changed, and yet they're not. There's like a lot of people are still comfortable with things staying the way that they were, because that way we can actually function. Otherwise, there is no order whatsoever at this point, so to speak. For these people that's their lives, and they don't know how else to live and function in these worlds. That's all they know, so they want to keep it going. And and for other people like the Mandalorian, they have to move within those circles so that they can also function as well, because he's like, well, what do I do now? Of course he has his whole clan, so to speak, to go back to. He can always go back to his own quote unquote people to find himself. And I'm glad we get to see that culture, because outside of him doing his job, which takes him here, there, everywhere, into like the belly, the underbelly of many of Star Wars that we've seen up to this point, he always has them to go back to. But even then, we find that he's different from them almost. He's willing to kind of break the rules, and it just almost takes him to where he's outside of all that until obviously much later we see how that changes and how they have his back too, but that's stepping ahead too far. But yeah, just thank you. Already just thinking about and talking to you, I'm already seeing things that I didn't see in the show already, and it makes me appreciate it that much more.
So we are only halfway through this podcast, and there's already some amazing perspective being shared. I am just so grateful to all these great people sitting at my kitchen table drinking some pink milk. So this is a great time to take a break. If you just pulled into your parking spot at work, or you need a second glass of pink milk, go ahead, take that time to do that, and then jump right back in with this fantastic discussion. Well, hey, so we have left with some Beskar, and we head off to, I don't remember the name of the planet, but we meet a fantastic little Ugnaught. What are our thoughts on Mr. Kuiil?
So when it comes to Kuiil, yeah, like Nick Nolte, yeah, you're a great voice. Misty Rosas needs to get more love because she's the one actually in the Kuiil suit acting him out, and everybody always overlooks Misty, and she acts the crap out of that Ugnaught, and I will defend her. Way to go, Misty. Thank you for acting out Kuiil and bringing him to life, while Nick Nolte only voiced him. That's my thoughts.
I literally have in my show notes right here, Misty Rosas doesn't get enough credit.
She's amazing.
She's so good.
She's so, like,
100%.
And that's the thing, like, she's so good and she's so nurturing, and like she kind of, like, well, I shouldn't say she. Let me switch this to Kuiil, talking about the actual character. Kuiil always reminds me of, like, when you get that one person in your life that's, for me, it's in my family, and it was my uncle, because I live in Georgia, and my family's super conservative and everything. But when I'm not out to the majority of my family, except for my extended family. So, like, that one moment where I first came out to, like, just one of my uncles, like, and he was just like, oh my god, I love you. Like, having that, like, just one person who just accepts you is so powerful. And I feel like that's what Kuiil is. Like, he sees through Mando's armor. Like, he sees past, like, he sees the person he is. He believes in him from the get-go, and he's in his corner. And I think, like, when you get that one person in your corner, it just makes you even stronger. And, like, jumping ahead to the Jawas, he was just like, you took too long. You know, I thought you would be faster, but because he believes so greatly in the Mando. I keep wanting to say the Mondo.
Mark M., what about you? What do you think about Mr. Kuiil?
He's my favorite character in the show. Well, Baby Yoda, yeah. Baby Yoda's the best. But I love Kuiil because of all the things that Hope said. He has a purity and a lack of artifice about him. Just down to the catchphrases, that I've spoken. He's just very, very matter of fact. You know instantly where you stand with him. He's really the moral center of all the scenes that he's in. And having that kind of voice ground the story in that way just makes it much more inviting. I was really upset to see him go. I thought he would have been a great character to have throughout the entire series. And yes, Misty Rosas she is amazing, because when you think about her performance, there is a team of people controlling the muscle movements of the mask on her face, but she has to know exactly what's happening with all those gears and wires and such. And she tilts her head a certain way, or she looks down a certain way, or she kind of looks a certain way. And we just take it for granted, but that's ballet. There's a choreography going on there it's seamless, and we don't think about it. But then when you start actually seeing how it's done, you realize, oh, there's a real artist under that mask.
100%. 100%. Ian, what are your thoughts on this?
I love Kuiil, and he's such an awesome character. It's so cliched, but it's the archetype he's based on. He's Din's Obi-Wan, he's Luke's Yoda, Gandalf, Merlin. He's just so wise and amazing. And he doesn't take shit from anybody either. He's very much just, like, wholesome in the best way possible. And he, in some ways, represents the life of ex-convicts, and that's super powerful.
Wow, I've never even thought of it that way.
And something to remember that is Kuiil was enslaved, and we know that the Empire used Ugnaughts as slaves, so we have to, reading between the lines, we have to assume that he was a slave.
Emma, you have thoughts?
One of the things that I love about Kuiil, like, sort of going back to the archetype, is I don't know if you guys have ever read any of these stories where there's a character who the world around them always gives them exactly what they need. Like, they're minimalists in the sense that they only have things around them, they only have possessions that they make full use of, and whenever something comes to them, they find a use for it. Like in the Lloyd Alexander books about the ascension of Turan to the throne, he comes to this farmhouse where there's a family living, and they have a mill and a river that turns the water wheel for the mill, and the river sort of brings them random objects, and they're always able to find some way of using each object that comes to them. And Kuiil reminded me so much of that. You know, it's kind of like this mystical exchange with the physical world, because he just seemed to be living so sustainably, if that makes sense. Yep. And just sort of making full use of the resources around him in a way that denotes his harmony with the landscape. And that imparts a sense of serenity, I think, to his existence that enhances sort of the archetypal form of being kind of like the Obi-Wan. So that was what he reminded me of.
100%. I feel like I have spoken with such a catchy slogan for, I guess, 1.5 episodes before This Is the Way came, but I get very like Chirrut vibes from him of he's connected to the Force, and that's his way of willing what he wants to come along. And Tom mentioned yesterday when we were rewatching, he's like, he said that too quick, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think he's willing it to the Force. Like there's something, and I have feelings about the Force in the show, but we will wait till we discuss those. But I feel like Kuiil, even though he is gone, he's going to be incredibly important, and I wonder if he might not be gone. We'll see. I'm curious. So
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a stretch, but I still think maybe not. Mark, what do you think? Mark P.
So I'm gonna go back to what Ian had brought up, because I was gonna say he's Mr. Miyagi. So it just
exactly.
You know, he needs that character to grow. You know, it helps him along. Not only is Baby Yoda helping him to mature, but meeting this character at the right time is also helping on that journey. I love Ugnaught, so let's put that out there. Ever since I was a kid, I had the vintage action figure. Me and that Ugnaught little action figure would have many adventures.
Were you able to keep his toolbox? That toolbox went missing all
it's gone.
the time.
I know. It's like I so much of that is lost now. It's just so sad. It's like if I would have to go hunt for it to see if I even have it somewhere. But yeah, I think, you know, a lot of what we were talking about earlier, when we start to fall in love with elements of the show, Kuiil is one of those things that really just brings it home. Yep. The character is Star Wars. It's an alien character. The delivery, the way they talk, the space that they take up in that person's life. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but their place in the main character's life, what they bring to them, the wisdom and so forth, the tough love as well too, you know, and then all that goes into making the character, the voice acting, the physical acting, you know, the special effects. I mean, it's all embodied in that one character. And so yeah, right away I was like, with that character, I was like, I love this is great.
And now that you've referred to him as Mr. Miyagi, I'm really bummed that he didn't get his wax on, wax off moment. He just got all this shiny new armor, and he would have had a great way of keeping it clean.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Kay and Toby, how about the two of you? Let's close this question out.
You want me to? Yeah, sure. Okay. So I instantly fell in love with this character. He reminds me a lot of my grandfather in a sense where it's like he's a father figure, but he's not like inherently like the kind of
dad.
Yeah, he's not the dad, but he's definitely a father. Especially with the whole idea of Mando being trans, having someone who just looks at you not for who necessarily like as a person emotionally you are, but like what you are. You are a Mandalorian. You can do this. That kind of being proud of this character, pushing him in a sense. It does feel like this is the character that accepts you. This is the father figure that is here to support you. Tough love, reality, figured out on your own kind of a thing, but is kind of there to back you when you need it. The whole idea of like they don't destroy, they just steal. Like having him kind of be like, you got to look at things from other perspectives. It's really easy as a trans person, especially, to kind of get frustrated and be like, you know, this isn't working out for me. You know, it's all or nothing. And he kind of pulls Mando back and is like, no, like you're going a little too far there. Like, come back. Trying to communicate, especially as well. He instantly is like, I'm just gonna flame blast you guys. He's like, no, you gotta negotiate. But having him there, it definitely is one of those things where it's like, I absolutely fell in love with that character. I was attached to him instantly. The whole I've spoken thing, I think I've said that like 4 or 5 times just today, just out in general. But it is kind of like the idea that if you really just go hard with an idea, it'll stick. The I have spoken thing is like, that's it. It's concrete. It's set in stone. It's going to happen. It's like the putting out the positive energy that something's going to happen and it'll come back to you. Obviously with the Force, that does help a lot. With just the idea of this is going to happen. I'm willing it to happen. It's happened. It's done. It's already there. Even if it hasn't happened yet, I know it's happened. I'm so sorry. I adore his character to death.
I love the I have spoken. I just would not recommend using it in your relationship. It didn't work out well for me. It doesn't work.
Yeah, you know.
Well, how about a question piggybacking on what Mark P mentioned? He mentioned Baby Yoda. What does everybody think, or what did everybody think when they saw the child appear on the scene?
Actually,
did anybody know ahead of time that was going to happen?
No,
like that. No one knew.
No.
Okay, and anybody who's been a Star Wars fan probably would have said, "Oh, of course it's Yoda," but we don't really know. It's probably his species, right?
Well, I think casual fans might say, "Hey, it's Yoda," but I think most of us on the panel here knew that Yoda died 7 years prior, so it was not Yoda. But you know,
my first thought was, "Wow, they went there." You know, they took this character that was so mysterious, and then they gave, you know, we don't know his origins, we don't know where he's from, but oh look, here's another one, and nobody knew that was coming. I was just kind of blown away by the kind of the marketing trick of it, which, you know, probably shouldn't be my focus, but I was just like, wow, in today's age, the fact that there was no Baby Yoda merchandise for that reason, to keep it secret, it's amazing that happened today.
Yeah, it's one thing, you know, we've brought up Disney a few times and money, and it's amazing that they let the story come first, because there was no guarantee that Baby Yoda would still be talked about. Fast forward 9 months later, before the product could actually get anywhere, and he still like sells like hotcakes, but they couldn't have known. And in today's, and that's one of the things that I think speaks to Star Wars, that the Mandalorian also tapped into, not only like visually and storytelling wise, but in the injection of our culture itself. Baby Yoda is still talked about. You know, we are such a flash in the pan society now that things are hot for a couple of tweets and then we're kind of over it. And he is still there. He is still selling, you know, he still does it all. It's really, really awesome. And I think speaks to this show very, very much. So I don't want to totally ignore IG, but Baby Yoda is the star of the show. So what were your all's thoughts on our little baby? Hope, let's start with you.
Why did you go to me first? No, I was looking up stuff to talk about, then I got caught off guard again. When it comes to Baby Yoda, he's just really cute. I just remember going to a Christmas party. Just being able to get together with people. Miss it. But I was at a Christmas party this last Christmas, and it was a nerd party. There was board games, all of this stuff, and they had the Mandalorian on in the background. And there was a woman who had never seen Star Wars before, but she knew of Baby Yoda because of the internet and all of the explosion of everything and stuff. And she was drunk, and she was just crying about this child. She was like, "He's so cute. And she just kept looking, she kept grabbing my hand and going, look how cute it is. And she's like, I don't even know what he is, but I want one. If they can make a non-Star Wars fan go, oh, look how cute that is, like that, there's so much there. But when it comes to hiding him, like I actually have to give kudos to Disney, because I like Star Wars, I like Disney, I love the stories, I love the storytellers, I love the characters. I'm very critical of Disney as a corporation because they do not have the track record of taking care of us. I mean, we're talking about the same company that would not let Alex Hirsch have queer characters in Gravity Falls, and they wouldn't send him emails about it because they didn't want a paper trail that he could pull out on them. He would only let them handle it through phone calls. So I am always cynical of Disney, and I always think that they're going to do money first, because they didn't start pushing for queer rep until they realized that they can make money off of us. And so like I was actually very, very, very surprised that they actually kept Baby Yoda under the wraps, because they could have had the opportunity to have Christmas money and all this stuff. And I have to tip my cap to them, because it was the best surprise of probably the last decade. And now we have 2020 going forward, so I got to give them kudos where it has it, because I was trying to find out the reason that you caught me off guard, because I remember reading this article that like it's because Beyonce is why they had Baby Yoda, and Jon Favreau talked about that, but I can't remember the article and I was looking it up. But
please tweet that, because that's hilarious.
But I think the basis was they were filming for, what was Jon Favreau's other project that came out last year? Avengers, maybe? But he didn't work on Avengers. Anyway, he was working on this other project. Lion King, that's what it was. And he was talking with, I think, Donald Glover, and he was saying that, you know, he wasn't sure how much they should market and promote Baby Yoda. And Donald Glover was like, well, Beyonce just drops albums out of nowhere and they're smash hits. I think you should fight this. And Jon Favreau was like, okay, well, if Beyonce does it. So,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was Hollywood Reporter. I'll see if I can find the article, because that's what I was actually looking for when you were like, oh, talk about the baby.
Toby, Kamala, how about the two of you? What were your thoughts as I'm seeing you holding a little Baby Yoda?
He loves it.
This is Yogurt. I've named him Yogurt.
Yes.
Tell me that's a Spaceball reference.
That is one of my favorite movies. Yeah. I absolutely adore Baby Yoda. Calumet says that I knew that he was coming before he
did. The whole reason you were like, oh, I want to watch The Mandalorian was because you saw Baby Yoda memes.
And I was losing my mind over it. You threatened to punt this thing across the apartment every day.
Here's the thing. Baby Yoda is great in theory and like in concept, but if I have to see him on everything in Target like one more time, I think I'm going to scream. It's like the Olaf effect, like Olaf from Frozen. That's what's happening right now.
Oh, she's not wrong.
I look at it for sure. So I mean, I have to see this face every day, and we have a Star Wars section, and 90% of it is like, we have a Baby Yoda slow cooker, we have a coffee maker, we have like a mood lamp, a succulent. Like, we have insane amounts of space. Yeah, we have one Ahsoka shirt. We have like a Baby Yoda succulent, like holder.
Love it.
But and people walk in and they don't know anything about Star Wars, but they know Baby Yoda. He's on our front piece. Like, he's the first thing when you walk in the door is you see a shirt with Baby Yoda on it, and people come in and buy him just to fill up their cart so they can get a discount. They love him. He's like the first thing that you'll have people go to if they're going over to Star Wars. We have a Boba Fett button down. Everyone wants a Baby Yoda t-shirt. And I bought this at Target for $25. It's poorly made, but I wanted it. It's cute because
I don't like his eyes.
I know you don't. And we have a little like net for stuffed animals, and I sit him and he just stares like this out at the apartment every night.
I hate it.
It's creepy, but he's so cute. And I didn't want to watch Mandalorian until I saw this thing, and I was like, I need to know what this is, because obviously I love Yoda. Everyone's gonna love Yoda, but to make him cute and palatable is going to bring in people to watch the show, because they don't want to watch Star Wars for the old Yodel, whatever you want to call the species. They want to see something with big eyes that's adorable.
It's Disney.
and it works. It works. That's what Disney does, and it works. And so I think the marketing was insanely perfect for it, and I am traumatized by this thing's eyes. This will be what I see in hell, is just this thing's face, because of how much I see it at work.
Toby, I
so
miss
real
you.
quick side note.
Toby, I miss seeing you every day, man.
Real quick side note, because I'm old, I was around when Spaceballs came out. My father did not take me to many movies, but I begged him to take me to see Spaceballs because when that movie came in like 86 or something, so I was like 7. I thought it was a new Star Wars movie. I maybe lasted through.
You thought it was a new Star Wars movie?
That's awesome.
Oh, you
And
poor
then
child.
Pizza the Hut came on. And my father took me out because I was so mad. I needed to leave because I didn't understand that they were like loved Star Wars. I thought they were making fun of it. I was so mad, and we walked out of the theater. And I don't know if I've still ever seen that movie to the full, like the whole way through, because that is is dumb, but it's still in my head that it is making fun of Star Wars, and I was not all right with that.
It's the funniest thing you'll ever see, and it sucks that you didn't make it that far, because there's a section in it when they meet Yogurt, and because obviously they're making fun of him, but it's like there's like Spaceballs, the action figure, Spaceballs, the flamethrower. Like he has a gift shop where he's merchandised like Spaceballs and that,
and now
and
we're here.
It's coming full circle with Baby Yoda right now.
All right, Emma, what were your thoughts
on Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
It was so I was so pleased that this was the direction they were taking the story, and also for the relationship between Mando and the baby. Rewatching episodes 1 and 2 recently, I realized like Mando is pretty washed up. Like it's funny because everyone is talking to him like, well, I mean, Mandalorians, they have a reputation, right? And so every single character takes the opportunity, and I mean, Kuiil tells him like, oh yeah, you're going to bring peace to the valley again. But like, he does not do well in that duel. Like it does not go well for him. It's very perilous. He's in a lot of peril. And in episode 2, like, that Mudhorn almost ended him. Like he almost lost that fight against like a wild animal. Like, and so when I was mulling this over, it made me realize that this is one of those like, washed up, grizzled veterans finds a new reason to live story. Like that's what's happening. And I just love that that's what they chose to do. And that's obviously, that story is not possible without, introducing Baby Yoda. And like, I was just, and as has already been stated, like sort of the softness of that story and the melding of the sort of really hard-boiled kind of action adventure genre with this really soft, gooey center. I really think that the going so hard on the cuteness of Baby Yoda like is obviously essential to telling that story. So those are my thoughts. But I mean, and obviously personally, like I just love Baby Yoda because like he's just irresistible. I mean, he's been engineered to appeal to that sort of primal nurturing instinct, right?
Ian, what were your thoughts when you first? What were your thoughts?
Oh my gosh. Capital WTF. It was a curveball. And I don't think there's anything I can say that hasn't already been said. So I'm going to touch a little bit on IG-11 and say that I think with the droids in the Star Wars universe, they constantly walk the line of artificial intelligence. And in the same sense, they're like pets, where humans with them, they form inexplicable bonds. They collectively share feelings with each other, memories. To me, one of the most powerful things regarding that sacrifice scene with IG-11 is not only is he very much human in that moment, but at the end of the day, they made it fit in with both his new programming and his old programming.
Yep.
It was so intelligently done, so smart.
Yeah, there's always a lot to unpack with the idea of droids and their place in the Star Wars universe.
L3 changed everything in Solo.
Oh, 100%. There's a lot to unpack with. Oh, geez, yeah. All right, Mark, how about for you? What were your thoughts upon the cooing of the 50-year-old man?
Which Mark? Okay.
Oh, Mark
Sorry.
P.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I didn't want to speak before it was my turn. I absolutely loved the character. Again, shocked the first time we saw. I was like, where is this headed now? It's like, wow, I had no idea. And just it was brilliant. Again, you have this character that just anchored you right. It brought you right back into it. Like you were able to feel for this character right away. You didn't want anything to happen to it. You wanted to protect it. And so, and just America fell in love with the character. It's like, even like you said, other folks are saying, people that weren't even into Star Wars, all of a sudden were like, oh, I got to see what this is about, and you get a whole new generation and a whole new group of fans that came into it because of Baby Yoda. I don't know that I want to know too much about his species, but if they do it just right, bring it on. I will absolutely love it, because it's been one of those big mysteries that has been around since I was a kid.
Yep.
Like it's almost like the alien in the alien flicks, the xenomorph. It's the less you know, there's a mystique there, and it's part of the character, so you don't want to know too much, but there's also a big curiosity. It's like, if this character is such a big deal, you want to know details. So I hope they're careful with what we get as a big reveal in the end and everything, but I love it. As for the IG droid, I love the idea of that character that starts up as one thing, and because they reprogram it, you're able to have another character within that same character as well. It really, really, it's a brilliant way of repurposing that one character, because we've never seen that droid in action, and seeing him fire off, in battle was amazing. I was like, oh, this is again total Star Wars, just seeing what this character can do. So because a lot of times droids are the comedy element, and we get some of that in this, but there's a purpose behind this character, and it's a dual purpose. And so it just I love what they did with the character. and who voices it, of course. So there's that.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that IG-11 is the first droid that either doesn't look like someone in a suit or a remote control device. It looks like a robot. And it has 100%. That jerky, almost stop motion like movement. I love the design of it.
Yeah, they did a good job with the blurgs on that too, how they went back to making them look kind of stop motion-y, and it made it all very Star Wars-y. All right. No, thank you very, very much, everyone. We, this was a really awesome talk. I learned a lot, so thank you all for sharing. Thank you for being very open and honest in things that are not always easy to be open and honest with. I think there's a lot more to the show than what I have heard in a lot of other podcasts, and I'm really, really glad that we have so many people to share that perspective. So I hope other people enjoy hearing our perspectives too. I'm sure they will. So with that said, we are going to wrap up this episode and get everyone a quick shot to give out your socials, where we can follow you, what we can do, where we can hear from you before next week. And I'll put them all in the show notes as well. So we are not going to start with Hope. We'll end with her this time.
I'm actually ready this time. I say it every week.
Toby and Kamala, how about for you two?
You can find me on Instagram at Prince of Cloud City. That's where all my cosplay stuff lives. And then on Twitter, Cloud City Prince. We are both also releasing our first podcast starting the 1st of October. And the socials for that are to be determined. But yeah, they're coming soon.
And then And then for me, I am Renja Koss on Twitter and Instagram. And then I also have a YouTube channel, which is Tobias Lecter. And obviously we'll be doing the podcast together as well.
Awesome. All of these will be linked in the show notes below too. Emma, how about for you?
I can be found on Twitter at Foxfleur, FOXFLEUR, French for flower, fleur. Yeah, that's it. It's mostly just personal stuff, so I'm not doing anything cool professionally. So that's it.
Ian?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm Ian Gallagher at iGallagher321. And not to be that person, but I am looking to start some kind of Star Wars or nerd LGBTQ podcast. So if anyone's interested that hears this, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter.
Yes, we need more of our voices out there in the fandom for sure. So please reach out. And if you need us to help broker the deal, we'll get it done. Mr. Mark Marquis.
Yes, I host a podcast called Forever Star Wars on the Clashing Sabers Network. And you can follow me on Twitter at DJMMarquis. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can email me at clashingsabersnetwork@gmail.com.
Hi.
Mark P.
So you can hear me on Taking a Number 2, which is on the Bad Motivators Patreon. It's a Star Trek podcast. And also I guess sometimes on these scruffy looking podcasters as well. You can find me on Twitter at I am El Diablito.
Awesome. Hope, close us out.
I must say I'm disappointed in my two sons down there not telling me that they're starting a podcast. So disappointed in you boys. No, if you guys do have anything, just let me know. I'm Hope Mullinex. I own geekygirlexperience.com, where I talk about animation, Star Wars, queer discussions, and sometimes all of them at the same time. I have a animation podcast called Hope Makes Chris Watch Cartoons, where I force my co-podcaster to watch my favorite animated shows, and right now we're doing Gravity Falls. And then I'm also the co-podcaster of J Guys and Jedi with Chris. And J Guys and Jedi is a Star Wars animation podcast. We're going through every episode of what we call the Filoniverse. We did the entire first run of Clone Wars. We just finished Rebels. We're just doing season 7 of Clone Wars. And then we're going to do Resistance, The Mandalorian, and and definitely The Bad Batch, because it's going to be Filoniverse as well, and anything that comes from it after that. So,
sounds great. Well, hey, thank you all for your time. We really appreciate it. You have been an absolute pleasure. And until next week, we will hear from all of you again. All right. Thank you so much.
I'm so sad that I didn't get to hear you two go drink up.
Oh, that'll be okay. We'll do it for you. We'll do it for you. All right, get ready because it's time to drink up.
Yay!
There you go. And we're back.
Well, how about that? That was actually pretty awesome, huh?
I am so incredibly grateful. I put like I said at the top of the show, I put a shout out on Twitter asking for some LGBTQ plus Star Wars fans, and they came, and I'm really happy they did, because per usual, we have guests on the show and they are far smarter than I am, have so much more to say, and I'm more grateful for it.
And just very, very interesting, because there is a age range there. We're not going to tell you. Somebody mentioned it in the show, though.
No, honestly.
But there is, and it was interesting to hear their perspectives.
100%.
With the age ranges and where their stories, and I, obviously you all just heard of it. I was just super impressed.
Yeah, honestly, it's that was something that I wasn't anticipating, I don't think, but I'm really glad we did, because, not only do we have different entry points into the fandom and into Star Wars, that adds another certain layer of how you see Star Wars, which we talked about in this, but also our coming out experiences are so different because of sometimes just the times. It's still not easy. So if you are listening and you have a member in our community that's LGBTQ+, if you are a direct family member, if you work with them, if it's a neighbor, honestly, give them a hug and tell them that you love them, because we really don't hear it enough. And just because the law says we're the same We're still really just not the same. You just heard a bunch of stories about how we still are not. So a little love goes a long way.
Absolutely.
So with that said, we really appreciate you listening. I'm incredibly grateful to all of you who came to join us. I know Tom is as well. Take the time to look them up. I will link all their Twitter feeds and all those things in the show notes down below. I will tag them in our Twitters, which you can find at Serving Pink Milk, both on Instagram and Twitter. You can visit our website at servingpinkmilk.com, not at servingpinkmilk.com. What are we doing?
That was so yesterday.
Servingpinkmilk.com. And don't forget to write and review us on Apple Podcasts. A little bit goes a very, very, very long way. Help get more queer voices out there. Share the love, share the positivity with your friends and your family. And until next week with some more Mando talk. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Drink up.
Drink up.
Bye.
Bye.